Yes, peoples. Welcome back to another episode of the Stockroom Podcast, where we're joined in a different location again. Glad to see you guys. This time with a new guest, a new special guest. I feel like now it's like we have a special guest every episode.
Hey, man.
Banger after banger.
We have to keep the heat high.
Have to keep the heat high.
I'm talking about
keep our foot on the gas.
Yeah, naturally.
Keep the pressure cooker going. And with that being said, we have a friend of the show.
Yes.
A very long time friend, good friend of the show.
Yes, man.
Somebody that we've known for quite a while. We've been seeing his progress. Glad to see him back again.
Yes. Thank you for having me.
Good to see the store again.
Welcome to the pod, man. Welcome to the podcast.
But yes, we have Qasim,
Hi.
the owner of Trading Desk,
Yeah.
and somebody who's been in the game for how many years would you say?
Just over 3 years now.
Yeah.
3 years.
Yeah,
okay,
three
cool.
and a bit years.
3 years.
Yeah.
So you've had the store
Enough.
for literally.
Enough.
No, enough time for sure.
If you guys have never heard of Trading Desk, how would you describe Trading Desk?
Trading Desk is the premium curated secondhand streetwear store in Soho.
The
Not
is
a.
It's the one.
Understood.
We buy and sell secondhand streetwear. It's either pre-loved or used, and more often than not, it's completely brand new. And our mission for 3 years or so has been to essentially combat the overconsumption of streetwear within the industry from a customer's perspective and kind of give them more options at
A second life.
yeah, and more accessible price points. It's how I would describe what we've been doing for 3 years. I think, anyway.
That's very interesting.
I think as the owner of the store.
Or it's just very simple, we just buy and sell shoes and clothes.
No, but it does feel like, I think whenever we come here, it does feel like the collection's a bit more curated and there's like a bit more attention to detail in terms of what's on the rails, what's on the wall, what's like around and available. I feel like you think about that.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's to be honest, my favourite part of the job the past 3 years has been, it's like the curation of the items is what I get the most joy out of. Because it's just, I feel like with streetwear for such a long time, it was obviously hype driven.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even about like what the pieces looked like on customers or consumers. It was just because it had a certain logo or because it was from a certain brand or some rapper or whatever wore it, people wanted to buy it.
Because a certain brand was around the corner.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, there's a reason why we are here.
Yeah.
Round the corner from Supreme.
Yeah.
Very good sport.
Yeah, I mean, apparently they're moving,
Okay.
Allegedly, right?
allegedly. So we'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens.
I feel like Soho needs a bit of a refresh.
Does.
I think, yeah, I feel like it's kind of, it's gone through like periods of like, you have obviously like your 2015, 16 era, but now we're definitely in a new era. I think even just like the local restaurants and bars and stuff are changing. And I think it's going to attract more retail, but more like, hopefully more interesting retail brands. I feel like obviously it's determined by rent prices.
For
Yeah.
sure. Because it's super expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which you're renting in Soho is never going to be easy.
No, definitely
Speaking
not.
of which,
Speaking of rent.
we're gonna come back to that. But we're gonna start off light, you know.
Okay.
Every time we do an episode, we have our guests on, and we ask them what's on foot. So, Qasim, tell us what's on foot today.
Today, I've got did you want me to take them off?
No, you don't have to take them off.
Yeah.
Oh, I've taken them off. Now. So, these are the Campalab square loafers.
Okay.
They're like a cracked kind of leather. Very comfortable. That's why I bought them. They were on sale as well. Which, I mean, I think they're like $120-ish,
That's not bad.
which isn't bad.
Yeah.
And I
And
feel like...
they come pre-distressed, don't they?
Yeah, they're supposed to look like this. I haven't just beaten them up. Which I'm like, there's a part, like, I feel like with distressing, especially with clothes, I guess this is another thing that we're about with the whole, like, second-hand aspect of it. I feel like for me, a big issue or something that I could never get my head around is with people who buy clothes and not wear them. I'm like, clothes are there to be worn, to be lived in, and... They essentially, yeah, exactly. Like you could tell a story through your clothes.
For sure.
I feel like there's always like times when you're out or whatever, and someone like compliments you on a fucking piece of clothing that you're wearing or something. You can't swear on this.
That's
You're good.
Okay,
Movie.
sweet. And I feel like the best conversations are always like, oh well, I got this T-shirt at this point, or like I've been wearing this for X amount of time, or like I got it from this store or whatever. And like you can actually tell stories through your clothes. And I feel like, especially within streetwear for such a long period of time, and I'm glad it's kind of not like that anymore. Or we're trying to have an impact on changing customers' like perceptions of what like clothing value is. Wear your clothes. That's what they're there for. It baffles me when customers will come into the store and be like, oh, like I'm gonna get this, and I've already got like 3 different colors in it, and I'm just gonna like collect it. Especially with shoes, I'm like, wear your shoes.
Yeah.
Just wear them.
Yeah.
There's no point otherwise. That's the whole point of them. Like if they get a bit dirty, they have a bit of fucking dirt on them or whatever. Like I've got all of my shoes are worn in, beaten up. This is so then when I bought these, I was like, is that like fake or not? But to be honest, I bought them because they were so comfortable. They're really comfy.
Eman, what have you got for today?
Today I'm wearing the Thunder 4s. I haven't worn these in a while.
I
so
noticed.
I thought
Box
I'll
fresh.
wear them.
Nearly.
No, do you know what?
He's not wearing his shoes. He's not
Do you know what
wearing
it
his
is?
shoes.
I bought these used.
Hey.
I bought these used, and yeah, I got them for a decent price. They came without a box, so I'm just man, it's just a lot cheaper. So I just thought I'll wear them because I haven't worn these in a while. And fun fact, as the people would know, these are my favorite ever, or these are my first entry into footwear. Like this,
Really?
this shoe in terms of I saw the shoe in secondary school. I was doing IT. And then I don't know how I came across it. I must have seen it on the screen and said, oh my gosh, what the hell is this? I want this.
Need that.
But yeah, this is the 2020 release. 2020, I think these came out in 2020. It is the 2020 release. So yeah, love them. Michael, chat to me.
I'm wearing a shoe, guys, that I've wanted and I've been screaming about on the podcast. If you watch the pod, like religiously, you will know that every 20 to 30 minutes of an episode, I'll probably mention this shoe. Like, no joke. I have gotten the Nike ACG Go Domes in the pony hair,
That's it.
black versions. Yeah,
They're really nice.
yeah, man.
That's
I
your
enjoy them a
second
lot,
pony
man.
hair shoe, isn't it?
It is.
Are they warm?
Are they worn? How so?
Warm.
Warm. Oh, very warm.
Really?
Quite cozy, actually. Like, when the weather dropped to like 3-4 degrees, I had just got them. And my feet were great, and I had them paired with the Uniqlo.
Did I show you on the same day that you got them? That was
That's the day I bought them. You saw me.
Yeah.
But I had them on with the Uniqlo Heat Tech socks.
Oh fuck.
And my toes were frying. So I said, oh, actually, Heat Tech might be a bit too much of these.
Yeah.
Let me just wear some normal socks. So yeah, but no, great crepes. Great crepes, very cozy. And yeah, man, it's like, it's a boot, but it's like a trainer, but it's also like got a little bit of je ne sais quoi with the pony hair. It's fun, man. It's cool. I enjoy them. So.
Speaking of boots, how do you feel about, obviously, the boot, I guess it's the trend that's going on now. Obviously, there's the low that's come out, and there's the high. And there's other trends going on. I guess we could speak about, in terms of distressing, the whole Vans thing.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
I like them.
Yeah.
I think they're quite cool.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if it's a controversial take or not.
Go on.
But I feel like obviously they're called like the Chanel Vans, and I quite like how they're inspired by quite an iconic piece
Luxury
of like
item.
fashion history. And I quite like the distressed look, the details on it. I think it's pretty cool. It's just a bit different. And it's probably something that, I mean, like Vans have obviously fucking killed it with that because they're now back in the conversation.
Sure.
So like it's one of those where like even if it didn't look as good as it did, it still served the purpose of what they probably wanted it to do, which is to get back into the conversation of sneakers and to have people talking about them, because obviously Vans like fell off a cliff.
For sure.
Obviously when we were young, maybe
Vans.
Yes! Qasim has started. Cool.
No, you're right though, because like thinking back to school, it was the Ralph Lauren or Lauren Scott T-shirt at some point in time.
How old are you?
You had the chinos, and then you had on the Vans or the Blazers.
It was the Vans with the chinos with the Obey t-shirts.
Yes.
Or
the Blazers.
or sometimes high.
Blazers.
Yeah, Nike Blazers.
Really?
Similar era.
In
That's
fact,
before the Fluxes.
So, I
And
feel like
Yeezys.
Manny.
thank you.
street
You know what?
culture was different.
Let's get into that.
Let's talk about that.
Go on.
Because
Manny's street
you're
culture.
obviously originally from Manchester, right?
Yeah. So
talk to us
born and
about that.
raised,
Yeah.
been in London for like 8 years now,
Okay.
which is fun, interesting.
Expensive.
Very expensive and very tiring, but
Yeah.
we're still here.
What made you want to move to London?
It was uni.
Okay.
Yeah, I moved down for uni. Went to uni in Covent Garden, LSE.
Okay.
Studied like economics.
Smart boy.
Numbers guy. Makes
Numbers.
sense.
Numbers.
Makes
I was
sense.
never really interested in numbers. I feel like the psychology of economics is probably what's interests me the most, and that's what I've really liked working here and having this is just like interacting with customers and trying to figure out like why they spend money.
The behavioral economics behind why
Yeah,
yeah.
Because I feel like one of the most difficult things in life is to convince someone else to spend money. It's like there's a skill of like maybe from like a business's perspective, it's like why would someone? I've always taken the approach like why should someone spend money with you? And I feel like with the store, it's kind of like you have to sell them a feeling and all this kind of stuff.
Okay.
And there's lots of things that go into it. But anyway, back to Manchester.
Yes,
I have a tendency to fucking digress.
Hey, you're good, man. It's a conversation, for sure.
Grew up in Manny. I feel like the street culture / fashion culture, I was probably influenced by, in a big part, my mum. She...
Big up Auntie, friend of the show.
Hi, if you're watching this. I'm on a podcast, Mum.
Go to LSE just to come up.
So when we started this, having gone to LSE, my parents are like,
What's going on?
What are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, what the hell are you doing? So that was like, especially like immigrant parents, like Pakistani. They were like, the fact that I wasn't a doctor, I think still kind of pisses them off. They still haven't really. I think maybe in the past like year or so, they're like, all right, fine, you're doing your thing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say your younger brother is the upcoming second hope.
Yeah, no, literally. So they're like, he's been working here a little bit part time.
Oh, word.
And I think my dad very early on, he was like, he's not doing this. He's getting a proper job.
Yeah.
With stable income.
Yeah.
But my mum was a big influence on me growing up because she was always so like trend averse in the sense of like like as a kid I used to hate it because she was like wasn't you know how you were talking about like the Obey t-shirts and the chinos and all that kind of stuff. She was like, no, you're not buying that because like you only want to buy it because other people are wearing it. But like fine, she would take us to stores or whatever and we were allowed to kind of like not buy whatever we want like but like have a look around and that like in person like trying stuff on and looking at things and like she's always been quite interested in fashion. Also like I think a big thing for me growing up was I don't know, as like a Pakistani kid being brown, went to quite a white primary school initially. Secondary school was slightly different, but even then like as an ethnic minority growing up in this country, I feel like it was difficult to like envision yourself as being cool.
Okay.
And I think the way that I kind of like, because at the end of the day, when you're a kid, I'm very like aware of the fact like you did want to be cool. And I think
You want to be liked.
Yeah, you want to be liked. And it's just natural. Like you go to like you go to school, you go to secondary school, you want people to like you.
Especially where you're a minority.
Exactly. And I think then growing up, I always found an interest in clothes because I thought, well, I can't really change how I look. I can't really change how my voice sounds. I can't really do much. Like you can obviously within reason, but like the one thing you can dictate is
What you look like,
how you dress. So then my combination of my mum being like, okay, well actually think about what you're wearing, and me wanting to kind of portray an image of myself, it led to an interest in fashion and an interest in clothing and shoes. And it then also sparked like some questionable fits over the years just to try and be like slightly like unconventional, but also learning. I think for a very long time you have that like insecurity growing up where you kind of are trying to mask through clothing. And I think it's only now in the past like year or so that I feel more confident now in the clothes that I'm wearing than I ever have done. But it's taken a long time to get there.
Of course, man. I feel like also that journey of finding your own personal style through seeing certain things and also like with what your mum was saying and what your mum's showing you, even through this period, virality comes in and you see things that's like, oh, this is sick.
Yeah.
But then being able to like remove yourself from the hype of the trend and be
100%.
like, actually, do I like what that looks like?
Yeah.
Do I want to wear that? Would I just wear it for now? Like for me, for example, post-pandemic, I was buying a whole bunch of Jordan 4s.
Yeah.
That's my favorite silhouette. And so I thought, because it's my favorite silhouette, I need to buy every single colorway.
Yeah.
I got to a point and I was like, I don't even need that. I don't
Yeah.
actually want that. And so I look at my collection, I'm like, I really enjoy this shoe as a shoe, but I can enjoy it from over there. I don't need to have it to wear it all the time.
Yeah.
And I feel like you go through this journey as you grow up and you get out of that kind of idea of you need everything now.
Yeah.
That you kind of whittle down your taste to what you think is really important for your personal style. So
Yeah, 100%.
yeah, man, definitely valid.
Would you feel like, would you feel like that kind of helped decide that you wanted to create a store, or why did you feel like you wanted to have a store in its first place?
I feel like
It sounds like your mum was a big influence on this.
Yeah,
store.
I think especially like in that like 2015 to 18 period of like obviously like peak hype beast.
Yeah, Yeezy.
It was like
Off-White.
I think the most hype beast product I've ever bought. And there's the reason why I bought it, because I actually, still to this day, I would wear this shoe if I got it in the right size. I bought it in the wrong size. It's the Yeezy V2 Triple White. I think as a shoe, they are clean. But when I bought them, I went on a family holiday to America.
Wait,
a couple of months.
The 350s?
350 V2, it came out in 2017.
Okay, yeah.
I think if I'm calling them the right
Yeah,
name.
I think so.
Okay.
But they were like one of the first like mass-produced Yeezys.
Yes.
Because before then they were like, you had like the breads
Small
and all
runs,
the,
yeah.
But I just really liked, I didn't really like any of like the neon greens or like the breads. I was just like, they're kind of not really I think I was really big into white trainers at the time. I was like, these are sick. And I bought those in 2017. I remember, this is whilst I was doing my A-levels. For like, after I bought it, for like 2 weeks after, every single day, all I could think about was the fucking postman coming to deliver these shoes. And I remember they finally delivered it the day before my exam. I got it and I was like, had that sinking realization, I have an exam tomorrow. I've just wasted my entire time just thinking about these shoes. Had to like cram for it, but it worked out well.
Fair.
But that was the most hypebeast product I ever wore. But then like 2 months later, took them to America, wore them every single day. And like if you remember the shoe, they're like a bright white.
Yeah, like very pure.
But I was like, I want to wear, like I bought these to wear them. I spent like all of my birthday money. It was my 18th birthday. Spent all my birthday money on them and started wearing them. And like my mum encouraged me to do that. She was like, she encouraged me to buy the shoes in the sense of like, okay, if you actually really want them, get them and wear them.
Wear the hell out.
Yeah. But I genuinely, and I know my mum, had I bought them and not worn them, she would have sold them. No matter, like, she would have really, really, like...
Got you to get rid of them.
Yeah,
basically.
she's like, if you're not wearing them, sell them.
Yeah.
And then even, like, in the Supreme heydays, like, the concept of, like... I feel like Mancunian culture has always been, like, kind of, like... It's always been counterculture. In the sense of, like... always want to kind of go against the norm, the grain, like being like northern. There's always like a north-south divide. Like there's always that kind of like, and I feel like especially in Manchester, like that idea of like trying too hard and putting so much effort into something like buying a Supreme box logo tee was inherently uncool. From my perspective, there might have been some people in Manchester who thought it was the coolest thing in the world, but like, in my kind of like school, my friends or whatever, we didn't think it was cool to like, because in Manchester, the only way you could get a Supreme tee or box logo or whatever was either you're paying a bot or you're going down to London to queue up outside the store.
Yeah.
Inherently, both those things are putting too much effort into something
so it
that's
just wasn't
like,
cool.
yeah, it's just like you're lame. You're trying too
fair.
hard. So I think those had big impacts on me. And then with the store, it kind of, the way that the store came about was, so one of my good friends from university, he was a big hype beast. So he was a big London-based like hype beast, big on the basement, all this kind of stuff. And he just accumulated a collection of streetwear over the years, buying and selling, and just like collected like loads and loads of items. And then post-uni, he was working somewhere else for a while, like in investment banking or something, saved up enough and was like, I want to open a store. And I'd literally just finished uni when he opened the doors for the very first time. And then I had a very, very brief stint at a medtech company, startup, which I think day one I walked in and I was like, I hate this. And I genuinely, like, I feel like very, very early on, I knew that he was doing this. And then we kind of stayed in touch. And then as soon as I left there after I got fired essentially after my probation. It was one of those where like, I've now come to learn the skill of having those difficult conversations. But like you have your probation call, and it's like your manager. He's like, you're kind of like looking at each other over the Zoom call. I'm like, I don't want to be here. He's like, I don't want you to be here. I'm like, all right, see ya.
Fairs.
And then so Alex had like been doing this for like maybe 2 months or so, and then I kind of came on board, and the rest is history now. But it didn't come from like. So what I'm saying is that it didn't come from a burning desire to have a store. It came from like an interpretation of how fashion and street culture should be part of someone's life, in the sense of like you can appreciate your like Supremes and Yeezys and all the hype products, but like if you're going to buy them, wear them. Don't like keep it wrapped up in plastic. I think that was the big thing about the store, which I really am very, very big on, is the fact that like you can walk in here, no matter how expensive the item is, you can try on. Doesn't matter. Like in so many other stores, they wrap stuff in plastic. It's like, oh, you can't touch this, you can't touch that, because it'll depreciate the value of it. I'm like, well, to be honest with you, it's like I feel like we value all of our items knowing that people will try them on over time. That is taken into account with our pricing, for sure.
That's super important. I feel like then, with that being said, because that's the story of how you got here.
Yeah.
How did you then go about acquiring products? Because initially when we asked the question, like what would you say Trading Desk, as you say, is created, space of secondary items. A lot of people might come and say, well, isn't he just a reseller? And it's like, you obviously have your feelings about that phrase. So like,
not a reseller. Clenched fist.
So like, how did you go about like,
Meme.
how did you go about collecting like the pieces and selecting what you buy and what you say no to, and what does that look like?
Well, so I think to address the reseller allegations first.
Allegations might
What is resellers? The way that I interpret what a reseller is that they're essentially buying product at retail price and charging over retail for a product that is essentially has hype-driven demand, not style-driven demand.
Okay.
So it's more about the fact that for whatever reason this product has hype behind it, a reseller purchases it at retail, and then they try and profit off that hype. What we're trying to do, and what we've always tried to do, is more of the curated style-led like curation of products, rather than it being, oh, like this is a really popular Supreme piece just because it's not because of like the craftsmanship behind the product or how it looks. It's just because, I don't know, A$AP Rocky wore it back in the day or something like that, and it's just hype. There's no like actual like understanding of like, okay, this is a cool product. And I feel like Supreme, especially over the years, especially during the hype beast days, there were so many products that were just like general release items that went under the radar because they weren't hyped. I'm like, those are really good quality like denim jackets, jeans, jumpers, this kind of thing. And I feel like just because the box logo was so important, that's what the resellers obviously focused on. Like for us, we've never in my life have never purchased an item at retail and hiked up the price to sell it in here. Ever. That's why we're not resellers. So the way that we access product is always through a secondary market. It's through customers, it's mainly through our customers. So that's why we're not resellers. Resellers buy directly from the brand and then charge a premium. We get our product from our customers or people who have access to a lot of products, etc. But I have never ever bought directly off a brand and charged a premium price.
Okay, so in essence, I would say in the word you're reselling.
We are reselling. We are not resellers.
Interesting.
We're not hype.
I feel like this is like when at a point in time, people used to use the word creatives, and people took the word creative as slander. Yeah. It's like, when you think about what the word reseller is associated with.
Oh, the stigma.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's like, you don't necessarily align with what they do because you have a different approach to the way you do it. So you don't feel like that title applies.
No, 100%. I just think that like, the reason why I don't have it, like, I don't get vexed if someone calls me a reseller, but the reason why I want people to know that I'm not a reseller, because I've always found the reselling market / culture is essentially just, it's like they're vultures, and they're essentially I think if there's product out there, there's streetwear out there that people actually want to consume, and the reason why they can't is because people are trying to profit off it. from like a purely like capitalistic kind of like, there's no like ethics behind it. I'm like, well, what you like, I guess it does. There's the part of it where it does drive the culture and it helps create even more hype and more hype. But we're now seeing like the byproduct of like what that extensive reselling culture has essentially done, because it has eventually turned people away from streetwear.
For sure.
Because it's just like, and I think that the whole point about this store is that like it's about accessibility. It's about accessibility to good product more than anything.
So, okay, cool. Let's say, obviously, the whole Virgil passing happened. If somebody was to come in here with footwear or with clothing, would that deter you from buying? I think was it Kobe that died and people started selling Grinches and Mambacitas.
Yeah.
So they started selling like
It's
bare
like-
with like
yeah.
memorabilia and obviously important hype shoes.
I feel like
quote
you
unquote.
obviously like, as like someone who's run a business for over 3 years, have like a financing background. You obviously are wary of the fact that you consciously like I'm here to make money. I'm here to try to run a profitable business and run a good business. But like in my head, the way that I've always tried to go about it is the best way to run a business is to think about your customer first, and it's always to think about like what am I actually? How can I add value to my customer's life? Could I? For the past 2 years, could we have bought the most hype product at retail and constantly just like gone through that cycle for 2 years? Would I right now be a bit more like financially better off? Yeah, maybe. But I'm thinking like 10, 15 years ahead. I'm like, I want Trading Desk to still be a presence within streetwear culture, fashion culture in 10, 15 years. There's a reason why all these resale stores, they have really high highs, then really, really low lows.
For sure.
They don't have, because they're not thinking about their customer. They see the numbers, they get excited, and then eventually a customer, because streetwear customers' consumption habits are fickle.
Yes.
And I feel like if you're constantly just going, if you're not trying to have your own voice within the space and have your own like identity as a store, even though we're not producing any of our own products, then eventually people will just go to the next best place, the next one. And I feel like that, not to toot my own horn, I think the only reason why we were able to stay operating for as long as we did, close down and then reopen and still be
Grab
here
customers,
is
yeah.
because our customers, I feel like the most rewarding thing for me has always been the customers who have come in and been like, I got a really sick piece here for like 30, 40% less than retail. Oh, I got like those, I came in and I saw this jacket for like a really good price. Where is it? I'm like, it's gone. You had that.
Yeah, I knew
You
it.
had that. I'm like,
I knew he was gonna. I told Michael he was gonna mention
I told you to buy it. I told you to buy it.
I know.
He literally told me about the jacket today as we were walking here. He was like, bro, there's one jacket, like, what do you say?
This is
Carhartt
the
denim
The
tears?
denim
Tears.
tears,
Stussy
Stussy.
jacket.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he was like, yeah, like I was gonna buy it, but then I didn't. And when I came back,
It was gone.
Yeah.
I was like, damn. In a similar vein though, I bought the denim tears Stussy zip up off you.
Oh yeah,
And it was in the warehouse, but like you were
Yeah.
like, it's not here, but I can get it to you. I was like, alright, cool.
I think that was when the store, we knew we were going to reopen the store.
Yeah.
But the timeline was just, it was a bit.
Yeah, I think it was
Hazy.
around a little bit after post launch.
Yeah, it was something like, it was like some of our product was in the warehouse that we were using. Some of
Yeah.
it was in store. That
Yeah,
just happened to
yeah,
be
yeah.
one of the things that wasn't.
Yeah.
That was a great price. Like
Yeah.
140, 150, I
Yeah,
think.
proper cozy jumper.
Yeah.
Why did you close down?
So the vision for the store has always been, as I said, I've always wanted Trading Desk to be here 10, 15, 20 years down the line. In order to get to that point, I think we realized very quickly that you either need to expand quickly via more stores or have some form of capital injection just to keep your head, because as we know, like, it is a fickle industry, especially from a customer's perspective. Like, trends come and go very, very quickly, especially with social media now. And we always wanted to be more than just a store. And I think the value of what Trading Desk, I think a big part of the value add that we've always had with our customers has been the way that we acquire stock. It's like the instant cash out and it's quite like a smooth process. But what we were always limited by was our customers having to come into our Soho store to do that. So 2020, we're in 2026 now.
Yeah.
Fuck, I'm old. I'm as old as you. I'm as old as you.
Cool. This is gonna be happening throughout. Okay, cool.
2024.
Guys, 1 year. by the way. 1 year. 1 year. Guys, it's 1 year. When I was walking, he was crawling. That's how. Okay.
Hey,
Continue.
man.
2024 was obviously, 2023 was a great year for us. That was our first full year of operation. Store opened very, very late 22, 23, great. Like you had that like, Soho I think had become a good place for shopping again. I think there was that culture of like, oh, like Soho fashion, etc. All these
ALD came
yeah,
in,
yeah,
you got
exactly.
some new
It was
neighbours.
a great year
Yeah.
for the area. 2024, I think you have the cost of living, people's purses are a bit tighter. I think tourism in London was down a bit from the year before. So we felt the impact of that. And I think through feeling the impact of that, we knew that like, if we're just doing this on our own, we're like, no matter how good of a service we're providing, it's going to be difficult and it's going to be too stressful, and it's actually not. We don't want to just be a store in Soho. We want to be more, and we want to expand our acquisition channels to anyone and everyone across the world, because there's streetwear, there's good, valuable product, I believe, all over the globe. And I think because streetwear culture for such a long time, as we spoke about, was more about hoarding items rather than wearing it, I think people are sitting on like essential gold mines of product. And I'm like, well, if we can provide you a service where we can cash you out, you can then reinvest that into your wardrobe again, or like into newer brands, more up and coming brands, or like just your style has changed, maybe clothes that actually fit you now or whatever because you've grown up, then that's a good service. But in order to scale that in order to really quickly scale that, you need some form of technology. And then that's when we started looking at if there are any companies that are doing anything like
So
that.
whilst you were closed? Or?
This is it's 2024, so this is whilst we were open. This is how we ended up closing.
Okay.
So then we eventually found this AI technology company called Responsible. So this is like our parent company now. And we started chatting to them. Initially it was like, okay, do you want to invest? Then I think very quickly it turned into, they've basically created this AI technology where you take photos of item and clothing, the AI registers what it is able to give me information on how to like price it. And then eventually what it's going to be able to do is automatically do the entire buyout process.
Okay.
So instead of you having to come into our store, all you have to do is just log on to the website, scan your items in, it will give you a price and be able to cash you out once it's obviously been authenticated. And that, for me, was such an exciting proposition. So then we started speaking to this company. Eventually it turned into the conversations, turned into like, well, this is what we want to do. We believe there's a huge market out there, and we want to scale this quickly. They were interested. It worked out. And the conversation went from investing into, they were like, actually, we want to buy it. And I think towards the end of 2024, I feel like it was a difficult conversation just because it's an unknown. It wasn't obviously an unknown at the time. We were like, to be honest with you, scared of like what...
This is your baby.
Yeah, exactly. We were scared of what was going to happen. But I think ultimately mine and Alex's gut feeling was that this is the right thing to do. And it's the way that Trading Desk is going to be able to scale and is going to be able to provide more value to our customers. Because as I said, the way that I've always approached the business isn't about like lining our own pockets. It's always about like, can we add value to our customers? And I think this is the best way for us to do that. Hence why end of 2024, beginning of 2025, we sold the business to Responsible, the tech company, and it just coincided with our lease ending. And I think it was, whilst it seemed from the outside there was this huge change, it was like on the inside, it was like, okay, well, we've just sold the business. They obviously want to understand it. I wanted to understand them. It made sense. Like the store, it takes a lot out of someone to run a store day in, day out. And I just think at that time, it made sense to give up the lease, not extend in that period, just because there was a lot of unknowns at the time. It was like, are we just going to go for a tech online play? Very quickly learned that like the big value of Trading Desk is the stores. And I think the future for Trading Desk is more stores. And that has always been the goal and the dream and the ambition, and that's why we sold the business, we closed down and have reopened, and that is what the plan for the next few years is.
I think it's quite admirable from a first instance that you guys actually looked to that, like the business you had, and thought, okay, cool, rather than closing down or maybe like running away from the space. And I think it's also a testament to the value of what you're providing, that you guys were like, actually, we can find an external partner of sorts that can either invest, or in the case that has happened with Responsible, acquire and take you guys to the next level.
Yeah.
So you guys can work together to, bring a new product to the audience. I guess like, obviously you've addressed your feelings in terms of being scared, but during that time period where you were closed, because it was what, maybe 9 months?
Yeah, so it was January to September, January 25, end of January 25 to mid-September.
How did you kind of go through that from like a mental perspective?
Honestly, it was like those ups and downs, definitely. I think the big thing for me was like the first, like, I'd say month or so, I was like, this is weird.
Yeah.
This is really, really weird. Because I'm like working from my
summer holidays.
Well, I mean, that was the joke for like all of the last year with my friends. They were like, "You're retired." I'm like, "I'm not retired." Like, I swear to God, I'm not retired. But like, because obviously for such a long time, people associated my work with just operating the store, which makes sense. I think the first month or so, it was like, "Oh, this is weird." The second month, I was like, "Oh, I can have a lunch. I can go for lunch during the day."
Yeah.
Because like the first iteration of the store, it was hands on. Like,
day in, day out.
Lunch breaks, toilet breaks, that kind of stuff is just like you got into a habit of like just not taking them, not doing them, because you're like, what if this person comes in? What if that happens? What if this happens? And I'm having a fucking piss in the bathroom. And do you know what I mean? And we were so busy during that period as well. So then that was like, it was nice to kind of get a bit of my like ownership over my like day-to-day life back. And then it got very quickly to the point where I was like, I need the store back.
Yeah.
I really, really missed the interaction with customers. Because for me, it's like, I feel like naturally, I think the reason why we've become friends is because if you guys can't tell, I can talk for days. It's because I feel like I'm naturally quite an inquisitive person. I like asking questions, I like talking about things, I like debating things.
This is an inquisitive brand.
And also like the way we all communicate, and the reason why, like, for example, in the same way the podcast exists, is because we like to have conversations. And I think the reason why we resonate with each other as well is that, like, for example, when we saw you in Paris last summer, it's just like we actually care, like, and you actually care. Like, we have the conversations. We just like, we saw him on the mains, like, after the New Balance fight. We're like, yo, you going?
You should get in his hug. It's dark. He's dark right now.
Right, we'll help you this time now. we got emotion out. Alright, Qasim, you're gonna come in. Got you, man.
But yeah, man, like, I feel like we just generally care.
Even having the ability to go to Paris, which I think had I was like having that freedom of like, oh, like that's something that I've always wanted to do. So I feel like I like meeting people, and during that period, not being able to meet any more customers and not having that store as like a vessel to meet people, I was like, okay, let me go to Paris and see what happens. But no, that like, so last year, 2025, there was. The first couple of months were a bit strange, and had periods of like being able to like take ownership of my life again. But then very quickly I was like, I miss this. I miss the customers. I miss talking to people. I miss not even like selling product. I feel like my attitude and another big thing that I've always disliked about the streetwear industry / culture, everyone's so rude. Like, so it's that idea of like, oh, you go into Supreme back in the day, or like you go into like any other like stores or like other people, like, and they just stood there with like
stink faces.
Yeah, I mean, like, nowadays it's so much better, but like especially back in the day, and I feel like part of the culture was to be rude, to be cool.
Yeah, because you're working in the store, you're cool to be working in the store, and so like the whole thing is like, because I'm cool in the store, quote unquote. If you're here in my space, what do you want? Like, it's crazy.
For me, my attitude to the store has always been like, because you obviously get young kids coming in or whatever. I'm like, they're gonna remember me if I'm rude to them.
For sure.
But they're also probably gonna remember if I'm really nice to them. And they're probably, growing up, would I rather have someone who had actually just been nice and taken a minute to like have a conversation? Like, yeah, 100%. And I feel like that has also been a big thing about the store that I've been really, really big on. With anyone, especially when we've hired staff or whatever, I'm like, at the bare minimum, like every single customer, like within reason, obviously, should leave the store having had a good conversation. At the bare minimum. And I think that is like the reason why we're able to do what we've been able to do and why we've had customers coming back is because I genuinely take interest in each customer's story. I want to talk to them. I want to learn more. I see it as an opportunity to learn more about the world.
Sure, for sure.
I see to learn more about like normal people. I've grown up in like bubbles of like school, education, streetwear, Soho. And like then the opportunity to meet like normal people who like fashion isn't that deep.
Yeah.
It's just we're selling clothes and shoes. It's not that deep. It's not the be all and end all. And the people that like for decades have tried to make it out as this like, you right?
Yeah. Sorry.
And tried to make it out as this like, oh, is this like super exclusive industry?
Cool
And
kid
it's like,
stuff, yeah.
cool. I'm like, fuck off. Like, get over yourself. It's just clothes.
Real.
It's like people. There's way more important things to be worried about and focus your attention on.
This brings me on to a question.
Go on.
Obviously, being in Soho, I don't want to address your store from the Soho perspective because I think that's like a given to a degree, considering it's surrounded by like the likes of Supreme, Stussy, Emily on Door, you've got Palace up the road, you've got Daily Paper, etc.
Yeah.
All the stores are basically here. How much has tourism impacted your business from the sense of you being able to educate people that come to the store and then being able to educate you?
And patterns as well.
Definitely. I feel like there's, with the tourism, is like you can break it down into two different categories. Like you have your domestic tourists,
Right.
which is like, obviously because we're in London, there's people coming from like Manchester, Leeds, wherever, all over the UK,
Yeah.
to come into Soho for like, they come for like birthdays or like Christmas shopping, all this kind of stuff. They're very cyclical. And those are the people, like, when you're having the real, I feel like obviously being Brit, like, and also being Mancunian, even though I've lost my accent. Which
I can still hear it. You've said some words and I'm like, yeah, it's still there.
Thank you. But like, when people come into the
I'm
store,
still
they're
buzzing.
like, when people come into the store and I tell them I'm from Manny, they're like, no, you're not. I'm like, I am.
Yeah.
But I've just been in London for like 8 years.
For long enough, yeah.
I think those customers, just because like you naturally have more of like, you can have like more of a connection with them just because you're grown up in the same country or whatever. Like those, like I feel like I learn a lot from them. But then obviously then you have like your European tourists who then I always find it intriguing because I feel like with the European market, because they have such a limited accessibility to the product, because like there's Supreme in Paris, there's a Stussy store in Paris, there's Stussy in Berlin, that's about it.
I'm not sure, yeah. Probably.
I feel like there is a Stussy store in Berlin. I feel like there might be one in a Supreme one as well. But across the entire continent, that's it.
Yeah.
So they have such a limited access to the product. So I always find it fascinating to see what they're interested in. And like, because I feel like it's not through any fault of their own. They're always like 6 months to a year behind the trend cycle in Europe. In the UK. Just because they have because of accessibility.
Yeah.
And I always find it interesting to hear about like how they come across the store more often than not. It's like a TikTok video or whatever. Which, to be honest with you, I don't mind. I feel like there's two ways to interpret the TikTok culture. I feel like it's definitely altered consumers' psyche. Like 100%, just like that short-termism, new fickle trends. But then I also feel like for businesses like us, like we've definitely benefited from TikTok, just because it gives visibility to a small business
And discoverability as well. Like,
yeah, exactly. So I feel like I learn more probably from the domestic tourists, and then are able to like help educate the European tourists just on like why Corteiz has become so popular, why this silhouette of shoe was cool back in the day, isn't now, or whatever. Like why, like what the UK culture is like, and all these kind of things. But I mean, every day's a school day, as they say.
I'm glad you mentioned Corteiz because we had a conversation off pod
Oh,
on
yeah,
the phone
yeah.
when we were talking, and I personally, I'm gonna say this now. I feel like people may agree or disagree, but in Soho, you're probably one of the earlier adopters of reselling or reselling Corteiz to people.
Yeah, definitely. I think we were. I fairly confidently can say we were probably the first store in London.
Yeah.
Just, I mean, to be honest with you, that's where our like business mind kicked in. We were like, this brand is hot. There's going like, if you think about like Supreme, especially like the reason why Supreme was able to sustain its legacy for such a long period of time because it had such a strong secondary market.
For sure.
And we were like, okay, well, Corteiz does have like a resale market, but it didn't
Especially
have,
when it was the whole password.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But like it didn't have a secondary market.
Yeah.
So we were like,
Why can't we be that?
why can't we do it?
Now, Corteiz didn't have a store. And so, speaking about the European tourists, they didn't have any real outlets to buy stuff from on their side. So, I got two questions. First of all, how important was the Corteiz sort of boom for your business, do you feel like? And also, how important, how do I phrase this question? Do you feel like the work that you were able to do and the stuff you were able to sell is proof that Corteiz should have their own brick and mortar?
So obviously Corteiz in 2023 was our like fastest growing brand in the sense of like the more we stocked it, the more we sold of it, the faster the sell-through rate was. Our like AOV stayed fairly, average order value stayed fairly consistent just because like we tried to match the retail prices. And I feel like we've always tried to do that with across all brands. So it was incredibly important in 2023. I think we've seen how the demand for Corteiz products has changed over the past 3 years. 2023 it was Alcatraz logo heavy.
Yeah.
An Alcatraz logo. If we got a pair of Alcatraz cargos, yeah. So and then the cargos over there. If we got a pair of the cargos in store, they'd go same day.
Mad.
Like regardless of the color, whatever condition, same day they'd be gone. Now they are considerably slower to move, which I think makes sense because of the evolution of how I interpret what a Corteiz customer has kind of like gone through over the past few years. And I think to answer your second question, it speaks to why I think it's crucial for a brand like Corteiz to essentially solidify its legacy and solidify its like position within the streetwear market to have a brick and mortar store. Because I think as you can see from its product line over the past like year or so, it's moving away from like the logo heavy pieces. It's moving way more into like your like knits and like carpenter
Small
jeans or
logos.
small logo. Like
fishtail
it's like
jackets.
they started incorporating obviously like the C-Star logo, but like a much smaller version of it instead of the big Alcatraz. But I think the reason why a brick and mortar store is going to become so important for them, and I'm almost there, it would 100% be the right decision for them to open one. I'd be
He
shocked.
said that he wants to open one.
I'd be shocked if he didn't open one like this year or beginning of next
Yeah.
year. Because I think the products that they're producing now, you need to be able to try them on.
For sure.
It's so it's a lot easier to conceptualize from a consumer's perspective. Like, okay, well, this like printed T-shirt, I can kind of guess how that's going to fit on me. But this like crochet knitted hoodie, well, it's going to be a bit more of an ask to like figure out like, okay, well, what size do I actually need? How is it going to look on my like body shape or whatever? And I think if 100% the right decision for them is to pivot into those type of products as well, because it means that they're still going to be here in 5 to 10 years time.
For sure. Product evolution.
Yeah, and it's crucial that they do that, and he's obviously incredibly smart and talented, and the type of products he's releasing are still selling out very quickly, but you've noticed that they've moved away from the logos. But I think with that new product line, it's even more important than before that they have a store.
Yeah.
I think it makes the most sense. And I think also like just in terms of like how a business is like valued, and it just like helps legitimize what you're doing, having the store especially. I think also
presence.
Yeah, exactly. And I think also like because inherently like Corteiz is a brand that has probably the first brand that has really, really used social media to blow up.
For sure.
And
That and Broken Planet.
yeah, but I think Broken Planet in comparison to Corteiz sucks.
Yeah, in
Like,
terms,
it's
in
just
terms of
like
putting
they-
I'm
development.
talking about in terms of
Yeah,
just like
yeah.
using
Social
social
media.
media.
Like,
So
yeah,
Broken
yeah.
Planet, I see it as Corteiz is a marketing company, but has now more focus on the clothing. I feel like you see less of their like guerrilla marketing campaigns as you did back in the day of like Clint running around Soho or whatever. Broken Planet still feels like a TikTok brand.
Okay.
Through their product selection, their like product lines, whatever, it's still like the big logo prints. And, like we stopped stocking Broken Planet, I'd say by the end of 2023. Like as a brand, it was just like I don't
You didn't feel
really,
like it was
I
enough
don't,
product
yeah.
story.
I don't think he's got enough. I don't think it really says anything. I think it falls into that pure hype product category, which I don't want the store to be associated with. So I think with Corteiz, like, it's incredible what they've done, and I think the people that hate on Corteiz just because of how big they are like, it's symptomatic of like British culture just to hate on people who are successful. I'm like fucking like if Corteiz are doing well, I feel like it's good for British streetwear culture, and that's what I feel like Americans are really good at that.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, like, this guy's popping and that guy's popping, because they understand that, like, there's a reason why everyone looks to America, especially historically for, like, streetwear culture, like hip-hop, music, all this kind of stuff.
For sure.
It's because they've bigged themselves up. Whereas the UK, for such a long time, we were, like, obviously we felt like the little brother or whatever. But, like, now with the brand like Corteiz, like, we should all be singing their praises, because they've done incredibly well. And I think if they opened a store, they'd solidify their legacy and would have a real lasting impact on British streetwear culture and streetwear culture as a whole. So I think it's crucial.
Speaking of brick and mortar stores, obviously you have this store here, and we've spoken about expanded stores. What do you feel like is the pros and cons of having your store and brick and mortar stores in general?
So
And do you feel like they're dying out? Because I feel like in Soho,
I think they're having a revival.
Okay.
I don't know if this is just my interpretation of, I guess, of how fashion should be consumed, but I think pandemic, you had like your overconsumption of low value product just through, because like TikTok shop,
Yeah.
TikTok brands blowing up, whatever, and like there was nothing else to do. People were just spending money for the sake of it. And I think 2022, 2023, you see like the impact of that. Then it starts to die out. And then 2024, 2025, okay, well, it's kind of like people reverting back to the norm of like, okay, well, I'm going to spend £200-300 on something, I want to try it on. Like, it's a lot of money.
100%.
And that's why I think the beauty of having a store is that like, I've always wanted customers to make informed purchasing decisions. So that's why I like talking to them, because I want to understand like, okay, well, why are you actually buying this? And I think I always try and educate them in some capacity on like the products and why they should be making certain purchasing decisions as opposed to others. And I think customers in this day and age of social media, when they have like an infinite amount of options, I think they will start to gravitate again towards the real human interaction with the product, because they can. I feel like this, with our like age range, definitely. It's difficult to know for like the kids that have grown up only with TikTok in their lives, but I think with our like 25 to 35-year-old age range, I think we do value stores. We do value the opportunity to go in, speak to someone, try
We've
something
seen
on.
the difference between both.
Yeah, and I think the kids are kids. Like at the end of the day, like they are like not ignorant, but like by proxy of being young and having little life experience, like they will just kind of they're fickle. They bounce from brand to brand, store to store. So like that isn't an issue. But I just think that like the brick and mortar presence for an older customer is incredibly important.
I think it's more mature, because you find that, of course, you have certain brands that they only like. I think up until pandemic, Primark didn't exist online.
Yeah.
They had a website, but it was like a website to tell you where their stores are.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna shop with Primark, you have to go to the store.
Yeah.
And when you think of like the more mature customer, as you mentioned, and the family shopping experience of like going on a day out, you do want to come to a store. You do want to try on a pair of shoes. You do want to be like, okay, cool. does my kid wear a half size or a full size?
Yeah,
like,
well,
where are they
exactly.
at?
Yeah.
So
Like
that's very true.
Yeah, it's always like I always encourage anyone and everyone whenever they come in here to try stuff on. I'm like, look, you might want that hoodie, but it might look shit on you. Try it on, and I'll tell you if it looks shit on you, because I'll give you like another option. I'll be like, look, this is like that's not the right size for you. That color doesn't look good on you or whatever. Like that print is just a bit too loud. Doesn't really go with the rest of your wardrobe or outfit, from what I can see. And again, I think maybe like
Consultation.
yeah, but 100%,
I mean, hey, man.
100%. And I like to think there's at least one person out there who's taking that advice and run with it. Hopefully.
Because even it's funny because like the
Stylish
first thing,
Qasim.
Me and Eman came in today, and the first thing Eman did, he saw the Corteiz leather jacket
Oh
on the
yeah,
wall,
yeah.
and he grabbed it and tried it on. And it's like other places, like for example, with Corteiz not having a store,
Yeah.
you don't get to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because you don't see it.
I wouldn't have known that size fit me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there you go. This is why it's so important to have stores. But the cons are obviously like,
Rent.
well, it's not. To be honest with you, the rent is like
Rent is not really a con. You have to
the
pay
rent. No, but exactly. That's
Yeah,
the thing.
that's
Like the
true.
rent
It's
is like
necessity, isn't it?
if you want a store, you're gonna have to pay rent.
Yeah.
The cons are like, I find it very difficult to switch off. Because it's like a physical stress of like, there's the store. Okay, if I go home at night, you still in the back of my mind every single night. It's still never happened. What if we get broken into? And I'm just like, and it's just there's small things like that where it's like it depends obviously on what level you're operating the store. There's like the stress of just like the day-to-day running. There's obviously like it is tiring.
Yeah.
Like as much as I love talking to people each day.
You go home
But like
and
when
you're
you
like-
have like when you have like 400 or 500 people coming into the store on like busy days, I'm like, you come home and you're like, whoa, that was a lot. So that's but I wouldn't say that was a con. I feel like the cons are just like there's obviously the risk of having a physical presence, just like security risks, theft, that kind of stuff. Those are what I see as the biggest cons, but I feel like all the other cons like rent and costs, that's what you're signing up to. You know that going into it. Because the pros in my head, the pros of being able to sell to customers in real life definitely outweigh the con of a rent. We saw that when the store was closed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I think I even messaged you and I was like, hey, like I've got a pair of shoes that I want to sell.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, the store's not open right now, but message me and I'll see if I can do something about it. So, yeah. I guess like, I want to get into some of the numbers.
Quick question. Before numbers, how do you know how do you decide what you buy?
Ha!
Fair.
That's like a million people have asked me this question, and to be honest with you,
Because you was talking about obviously broken planet market earlier, and if it's a thing of getting into the numbers, you can probably obviously you said that you don't want to curate the whole thing around hype, but if you're losing out money on something which doesn't really sit with you morally, how do you?
Well, I think we
balance
like 100% recognize the fact that we've definitely missed out on market opportunities because there are brands out there that I don't want to be associated with.
Fair.
Like a Broken Planet. I'm like,
Fair.
that doesn't align with the store's model. But this is, again, what I was speaking about before, that like, I like to think by making these decisions and sacrificing essentially income streams and revenue in this moment means that like in 10 years time, we're still here. Because I feel like if you then start stocking the same product as every other store, like we never do Stone Island or Arc'teryx.
I
Or
find
like,
that quite interesting though.
because in my head, Stone Island, Arc'teryx, CP, they're vintage brands.
Okay.
They're associated with like vintage stores. And like for me, it's like I've never really liked Stone Island as a brand. I've always found it to be a bit like, I've always found it as like people are just buying it to say they got, look, just to do that. I'm like, that's not a sensible purchasing decision.
Fair.
That's not.
But
So I guess there's a big part of it where like,
like, you know,
I'm not hating on people who wear Stone Island. I
I'll be looking at some Stone Island pieces and like, yo, that
I feel like some of their pieces are cool. Like some of the silhouettes are cool, and I feel like if they didn't have the badge, I've never personally worn a Supreme Box logo. I've never worn a pair of Jordans, and like those are probably for streetwear two of the most hyped, most widely consumed products across the entire
For
marketplace.
sure. Yeah.
I've personally never interacted with either one of those. And
Or
when
do you sell it?
I don't. Well, with the Jordans, it was like as you can see on the shoe wall right now, like I've been trying for like almost 2 years now to try and really move away from the Jordans.
There are 3 on the wall.
Yeah, there's not that many.
Representative of the times, though.
Yeah, it's obviously a shift in markets,
Yeah.
but then also like I feel like as a silhouette, like there are some like the Jordan 2 Off-White.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that shoe. I think that looks cool. I think that's the cream one. I'm like, that is a sick shoe.
Huh.
That's probably one of the only Jordans I would wear.
I'm not going to judge you.
But I think it's a fairly
Silently
low
judging.
profile silhouette. I think it looks quite cool. I like the leather, and yeah, that's one Jordan that I would like to wear.
Fair. You can probably still get that for a decent price.
Yeah,
If you like it, I love it.
but when it comes to like product selection, I think there's a big part of like, okay, understanding that we do need to make a business. We do need to buy product that we know that sells. But then also like, I feel like that's a portion of it. And then like the sprinkle on the top or like the final piece of the jigsaw is always like the more curated pieces.
Yeah.
Which kind of speak more about like the brand identity. And also helps like when a customer comes in and they're looking for a Stussy hoodie, they're like, oh yeah, you've got a Stussy hoodie. I'm like, yeah, we've got a Stussy hoodie, but we've also got like this like kind of cool Acne Studios or Our Legacy like jumper. Just try it on, see what you think. And even if they don't buy it, maybe in a year's time, they'll be like, oh well, maybe I will go back to that store and see if they've got that piece.
Because it is kind of cool and it's a little bit different and a bit more to
Yeah.
my speak now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So when it comes to the selection, there's a balance of like knowing what product is going to sell, knowing what product within that product category I think will align with the store's ethos.
And also location.
Yeah.
I think location is quite important because in certain places, it might be like, for example, boots are a little bit more resonant. And then on the flip
Yeah.
side, it might be like somewhere else, it could be the terrain is completely different. You might need like some, I don't know, like flip-flops and
Yeah,
them
100%.
kind of,
No,
like,
100%.
items. So.
And I think to go back to the reseller point, I think the other thing about resellers is that they buy new product, like new release product. I've always, and like, as much as I've physically been able to resist it, we try not to stock product that's been released in the past 6 months. Just from like a curation perspective, identity, because otherwise that's when you become a resale store. Where it's like newly dropped product that has just come out, buy it for retail, hike up the price. It's like, okay, well, can we, because we were able to tap into quite a good level of supply. We were able to pick out the pieces that we wanted and that we didn't want. So that's also a big part of it when it comes to acquiring stock. But at the same time, like, we are running a business, and there is also like if a good opportunity comes about where like you can access product at a good price and it has been released recently, then yes,
Play the game a little bit.
yeah, there's rent to pay.
Yeah. Okay, so Eman took us away from the numbers, but took us into the numbers. I want to bring you into the numbers, right?
Which numbers?
Cool. First of all, yeah.
LSE graduate.
Yeah, we talking numbers right now. All right, cool. What has been, and I'm not going to ask this question because I was going to ask you what's the most expensive item that's come through your doors, but I don't think that's a question that is of value. In terms of like a market day, what's been your most successful day, and could you share the numbers with us?
Off the top of my head, it was around that like 7 to 8 in a day, 8K, like at push. But obviously, like I feel this.
That's crazy though for the context of the store.
Well, that's what I was about to say. Is like that's like an absolute like that was like one of our. I remember we started the day. It was like on a Friday in like I think February half term, 2024. I remember it clearly because I was like, this is weird. Literally, as soon as we opened the door, we had a pair of these Grateful Dead dunks that had been sitting there for fucking ages. Sold it at like 12:02. I was like, huh.
And you open at 12, so it's like...
Yeah. This is like 2 minutes into the day. We've already done like 500 or whatever. I'm like, whoa, okay. And then like it just kind of snowballed, and we just like I just got into my fucking groove of like selling.
Yeah.
It just turned into a great day.
Yeah.
I think that was probably around like 20 to 30 products in the day. But we do have like essentially there's a capacity We have a ceiling, just because of like the space in the store, the amount of products that we have out, and I think in the new store, what I've realized is that like there's a balance between having a hyper curated selection of items and then also playing the numbers game, in the sense of like the more product you have, the more you'll sell.
For sure.
And I think the biggest change that we've learned is that in comparison to the old store, it's just how dead in the water the sneaker market is. To be honest with you, I think
disgusting.
clothing and apparel is like the future of streetwear. I think, and to be honest with you, I'm quite happy for this because, as I said, never worn a pair of Jordans. Never really understood the hype. To be honest with you, not to be a hater.
Fair.
I just never understood it. I'm like, I don't think they look cool.
Fair.
But he likes Jordan 2s of whites.
I think those. I'm like, that is a well-designed shoe. I think that looks nice.
Get a load of this guy.
I like the color on that. And I think the big thing that we've learned is that like we've obviously had our sneaker wall, shoe wall for like as soon as the store's open. We've always had this been like a mainstay fixture in the store.
Yeah.
And I think it does bring people in, but it doesn't sell
As well.
as well as it used to. Maybe that's more because we've moved into a different direction with the shoes, but I just think that customers nowadays are more than happy to walk into like Adidas, Puma, Nike even, and just buy GR shoes, which is
Products
how
will
it
be
should
there as well, yeah.
Yeah, and which is how it should be. It's how it should be. This is the message, and what I've always tried to educate customers about is that like buy stuff because you want to wear it, not because it's hype, not because a TikToker has told you to wear it. Buy it because you want to wear it. And if you're happy to walk into Puma and buy a pair of Speed Cats, buy them, wear them. I think that's a good thing. It's a good thing for the industry.
Are there any items you regret selling?
Regret selling in here.
Like an item that you've put up, somebody's bought it, and you're like,
Fuck, I really wanted that. Yeah, there's one that really sticks out. There's
Of white 2s.
we've never had them in store. We've actually never had them in store. As far as I can remember, we've never had them in store.
I said I remember because I would have got those.
I just think they look, because they don't look, I think the reason why I like them is they don't look like Jordans.
Yeah, that's fair. They don't. They actually don't.
Yeah, they look hideous.
Welcome to the stockroom, Qasim.
Yeah, welcome to the
Fucking
stockroom.
bumblebee.
Thunder.
He's lashing out.
Just lash it out. You used to say that a lot.
No, so 2 years ago, I went to Madrid to run a half marathon for like charity.
NPC.
Fucking hated it. Like I hate running. I think I was speaking about this before. Like,
Yeah.
I'm very skeptical of the running culture. I think it's like being pumped into the social media sphere by brands because of the clean cut image it has, and it's quite low risk. There's not like the danger that like they're going to partner with like I don't know, like do like an event and something, and people are going to get too drunk and whatever, and it's going to get messy. It's like a fucking running club. It's very
healthy.
clean. Yeah, it's healthy. It's very easy for brands to put budget behind them. But anyway, I was one of those guys. I went and ran a half marathon in Madrid. Hated it. Literally a few days before I went, we had a pair of shoes that came in, and as soon as they came in, I was like, "Ooh, I need these. These are speaking to me." They are the pink Stussy Air Max 2013s.
Yo!
Oh, okay.
Yo!
They
Yo!
are
Okay,
Yo!
I'll give that to you.
What?
Okay,
Len crap.
I love them.
I'll give that to you.
What's a
Absolutely
shoe?
love them.
What's a
That
shoe?
one. The whole pack, the creams and then the blacks.
And the black clean. Wow.
No, I didn't like the other two.
Okay.
I wasn't a big fan.
Oh.
I prefer the Fossil Spiridons.
Yeah, Spiridons.
So the Spiridons,
They were clean.
The Spiridons, I got
really
them.
wanted
I
those.
got them off StockX the day after they came out for £200.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. Then 2 years later, obviously you get all like the Soho TikTokers making videos of them. I'm literally wearing them in the store. I'm getting these like kids coming in like, "How have you got those?" I'm like, "Bro, I bought these 3 years ago when you were like 12 years old." And like, I've beaten them up I've worn them so much that like the bubble at the back has burst.
No way.
I can't wear them anymore because they fucking squeak, and it just winds me up every single time I wear them.
wear
But that's the whole point. Like I bought these shoes to wear, and they at one point their resale value was like
£400,000?
Yeah.
600,
yeah.
700. I got them in 10 or 9.5, whatever, brand new. They were like £600, whatever. But I had obviously beaten mine up so much. But like I'd worn them to like festivals. I'd worn them like in that period where COVID ended. I was wearing them every single club we went to. I was wearing them out everywhere. I'm like everywhere. But the shoe that I regret selling was the 2013 pink.
That's a valid regret.
We got them in. I was like, I've always had a rule where if something comes in, I always at least want to give it a week or so on the shop floor, just because otherwise it's quite a slippery slope.
Yeah,
I was like, you know what? They're a pink shoe. Who the hell's going to buy them?
Little did you know.
Little did I know. I've got a great product selection. I'm like...
Pink shoe's going to stand out in the wall. It's like,
no, because after I came back from Madrid, like 3 or 4 days later was my birthday. I was like, you know what? I'm going to treat myself. 25th birthday, I'm going to buy those shoes. Come back and they're gone. I'm like, damn. And then for such a long time, I feel like I've now got it in my head where like, I don't want to pay resale for them.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm just praying that they come back into
yeah,
circulation here. But they just haven't in over 2 years.
I mean, that's why he wants more stores.
Yeah.
A bigger chance to get them back.
Yeah, exactly. Someone has got them brand new in like a 10 to an 11 and is sitting in a wardrobe somewhere. I know that for sure.
Yeah.
And I'm just waiting for that person to upload it on the website, message us on Instagram, bring them into store.
Hey, the word's out. If you've got a size 10 or a size 8.5, let us know.
Lol. That's a
I'm going to charge a fee for that.
Let
me get myself into that.
Go 10%. That'd be crazy.
Yeah, that was the one item that I regret. I should have just taken it. Because it's one of those things where I think the other beauty of having in-store, like having the store is you get that like gut feeling whenever you see an item. You're like, oh, you know that feeling was like, oh, like I need that, which I don't feel like is as easily translatable online. But as soon as they came in, I was like, I opened the box, I was like,
Yo, yeah.
But yeah, that's a big regret. But I hope they've gone to a happy customer, whoever that is.
That sounds like the most clenched, fisted.
I'm sure
I'm
I'm sure they're loving it.
Speaking of shoes, let's get into the shoe that you brought.
Oh,
Because we did ask you to bring a shoe.
these are my shoes.
A shoe that means
This
something
is
to
my
you.
bag.
A shoe that means something to you. Firstly, before you bring it out, why is this shoe special to you?
So this shoe is special to me because growing up as a kid, I always wanted to just buy something from this brand.
Okay.
I was just like, for some reason, this brand, it spoke to me in like, not like in a fucking existential sense. It was just more just like, I think I just liked the design of the website. I liked the logo. I liked how it was a luxury brand, but it wasn't like too in your face. Whereas with your like LVs and like the monochrome prints, I always thought that was kind of like, it looked quite tacky and shit. But the brand is obviously Prada, as you can tell by the bag.
For the listeners, these are
The
Prada cups.
listeners.
Yeah,
I've
you
just
can show for the viewers though.
lifted them
It's
up
cool.
I've lifted it up for the
The viewers are there too.
For the listeners, you guys can see me lifting this shoe bag up.
You can't actually see it on Spotify. We've got the video on Spotify.
Audio description.
Can you imagine? But yeah, the film bring them out, man.
Oh yeah, so these are the ones I got.
Nice.
The greens. But look, they're beat. I've had them for a year. They're fucking beat. They're so beat. I've got like, I don't know, there's stains on them.
Yeah.
They're creased. I've only had them for a year, so I bought them on my birthday last year. And I think it was one of those moments where like, didn't have like the stress of the store. I was kind of like, you know what, I fancy treating myself.
Okay. You should.
And I bought them. I think probably the last thing that I've bought full price. I feel like now I feel like when you obviously working in fashion, you kind of then develop a habit of like, well, I feel like I know someone that can get me a better price, which is also a bit of a slippery slope.
For sure.
So I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna buy them. And I went in, tried them on, and
Went into Trading Desk.
went into the store, tried them on. They're bare nice to you when you want to buy something.
Yeah.
They're bare nice,
Very
especially when they
friendly.
think you can afford it as well. I've been in there before where like you as a
Came with
student.
that accent.
Well, I've been in there before when I was like a student, and they can obviously tell you're a student or
Yeah,
whatever.
And they just
I've got
give
my
you
fucking
like, minimum
rucksack
time
on.
of
They're like,
day.
what the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
Then I went in and like, I don't know, maybe it was in my own head. But they're bare nice to you when they think you can actually afford something in there.
Unless you're an international student, then you can afford everything.
Yeah.
But that's a story for another day.
Yeah.
What made you go for the leather, the standard leather instead of patent
All right,
leather?
so this is the thing that I actually did want to talk about.
Yeah.
So this shoe, I think So this is the original silhouette
Right.
of the original release in 1999, which is the year that I was born.
I was born 98. I was born 98. I was born 98. I was.
So this is the original model, and this is also, I think it's, in my understanding and knowledge, this is one of the first luxury sneakers. I think, if not the first, that was like, went to like mass market, and it essentially changed the sneaker game. It's changed street culture
Yeah,
for
it's-
sure.
yeah,
So
for sure.
So I thought it just felt right to buy this version, but I think the pattern ones kind of look a bit shit.
Okay.
I'm a big I think they're too shiny.
Yeah, I don't
They
get it,
shine too much. They're too shiny. I also think the sole is too big. It's too clunky, and I think in my head they're just for. I think there's a distinction between the pattern ones and the OG silhouettes, just because these are way less in your face.
Yeah, I hear that. There are. I think
They're a much more subtle shoe.
yeah, the patent ones are a little bit like bulkier.
Yeah.
In a sense, but I don't know, man. I like those color pops, man.
Yeah, I can't lie.
I feel like this is subtle. Like, obviously, if
Chuck
you're,
them back or
hey, dude,
yeah, I
move,
can
man,
hold
move,
them.
man. But yeah, if you're like a more subtle, understated kind of person, makes
Yeah,
sense.
I think it's that whole idea of I'd rather just buy something that I'm actually going to wear. And I just think the patent ones, I think also by association of other people who I've seen wearing the big chunky patent ones, I was like, damn, it's not for me.
Fair.
What do you think of their resurgence, or how they've basically come back into the fold? Because
What,
I think-
Prada cups?
Yeah.
I think it's because of probably people like me who grew up wanting to buy something from Prada. Probably the cups are
Affordable now to a degree.
well,
No, I mean like
How much you pay for that?
6,
7.
7.
7.
Bro, but they're $750 now.
Price gone up again.
Bro, the price has gone up again.
They might bring them down.
I think the OG price of them would have been like $350
Yeah.
or so.
And they brought them to like 650.
I don't regret buying them, but as soon as I bought them, I was like, this is so hypocritical, because
Yeah.
I'm so big on buying stuff.
Second hand.
Yeah, I just felt like a bit of I sold out, a little bit of a sellout when I bought them. I was happy I bought them. It was a learning piece for me, for sure. I think it was just that inner kid. I just
But
Yeah.
to that point, what I was trying to say is not that they're affordable in terms of they're cheap.
Yeah.
But I feel like the people that wanted them growing up,
Yeah, yeah.
they now have the capability to
exactly,
actually buy
and
them.
I think that's why they made a resurgence.
It might be a
definitely.
treat, but they can do
Yeah,
it.
yeah. Yeah.
Because also, when you think about the people that are around our age and up, they're buying houses now. They're
Well, yeah, exactly.
making those. They're
Yeah,
getting
yeah,
married,
yeah.
so it's fairs.
Yeah,
I can't really buy a pair of Prada cups, you know.
Yeah.
When you think about it like that, you know.
Yeah, so I think that I think that
People our age are buying houses and we
They
ain't buying
are
Prada
buying-
cups.
Shout out to Swag, man. Swag comes first.
drips forever. House to fall
Amen.
down. House to fall down.
Say, "Jib,
House to get
confirm."
burnt down. Yeah, I think that's why they're having resurgence. I think
Yeah.
that's why you see probably a big part of why the lower end luxury market and streetwear is merging into one, especially within people's fits and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Because they can afford, our age range, they can afford a pair of cups. They can afford to spend a little bit more on some lower end luxury items and incorporate into their fits,
Yeah.
and which I think is a good thing.
Yeah,
I think it's a big part of the shift in the industry that we've seen in the past 3 years or so is how you have before, I think the luxury market, vintage, and then streetwear is very segmented. Now they're kind of all merging into one.
For sure. 'Cause,
Like-
you can step out with for example, it's just
Yeah, as in, if you look at what I'm fucking wearing, I don't even know how you would describe. It's streetwear, but it's I don't know.
They ain't wearing loafers.
Yeah,
it's
loafers
like-
and then
you change the narrative
rings
immediately.
with skulls on them. Do you know what I mean? It's not that I'm a style icon.
You might be.
You just console people's fits. And
Yeah, it's just part of the job, I guess.
Yeah. I'm a big believer in uniforms. I feel I go through uniforms in my wardrobe of wearing
okay,
the
yeah,
same
yeah,
fit
yeah.
over and over
Yeah,
again.
yeah.
I think, all right, if there's one message for everyone to take home, is that if you're not repeating your outfits, you're just cosplaying. You're just cosplaying. If you don't
Bars.
repeat outfits, you're a cosplayer.
Okay.
Because you're not living in your clothes.
Yeah.
You're like you're just you're wearing stuff just to wear it, not to actually like not because you like to wear it. In that sense, you don't. So I go like at the moment, this is my outfit.
Okay.
This is the best hoodie I've ever bought in my life, by the way.
So
Not to like ride the
My
fucking
price the same, yeah.
Nike Stussy hype train, but like this is genuinely my favorite hoodie.
Yeah.
The fit on it, so comfy.
I nearly wore my grey one today, and I was like, nah. Nearly.
No, we
could've
could have been
twins.
matching.
Take pictures.
But yeah, I'm a big like uniform guy. I think maybe that was because of like the school I went to. Like we in sixth form, always having to wear school uniform, and in sixth form we wore suits.
Yes.
But then obviously each person had their own like interpretation or like the way that they wore their suits. Some people obviously didn't give a shit. I cared probably a bit too much, but like I would always want like a fairly more relaxed fitting suit. Some people wanted like waistcoats.
Three-piece.
Yeah, three-piece. I never felt comfortable wearing a three-piece because I think also like a big part of my influence on fashion is that like I have had a level of insecurity about like body shape, physique, all that, like growing up for such a long period of time. And I think that definitely made me gravitate towards baggier fits, silhouettes, etc. And I think nowadays you see these people or like trend analysts, predictors or whatever, because there was a baggy trend, they're now saying that, oh, it's going to be skinny jeans again or whatever.
And it's just not.
I think that's just fucking lazy journalism. But I also think that the people who look good in skinny jeans 10 years ago, they still look good today and they are still wearing them.
Yeah, I don't feel like
I think
that
you
comes-
still have that, like, if they have that, like, really slender body shape, they were wearing slim-fitting clothes 10 years ago, they were wearing them, and they're still wearing them today, and they still look good in them.
For sure.
I just think that the reason why baggy silhouettes came about, because, like, people like me who, I was always wanting baggy clothes. I'd go into Levi's and try and find the baggiest jeans possible, but, like, they would still be fairly straight fitting. And I just think that like with social media, with newer trend cycles, etc., we just had more accessibility to proper baggy clothes and like more knowledge of like, oh, like Needles HD pants or whatever, or like purchasing products from like Japan or Korea where they like, but like 10 years ago, we didn't have social media. I think this is one of the best things about social media is that it gives consumers more knowledge of what else is out there. But I just think it's lazy journalism, people who are being lazy just to say that skinny jeans are coming back. Like, I'm never going to wear a pair of skinny jeans just because I don't feel comfortable in them.
I did that in uni. I did the leather jeans.
Leather
with the rips.
jeans?
Sorry, not leather jeans. Not leather jeans. They were denim jeans with leather bits covering the rips.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, were you like one of the like the
Like the biker jean kind of vibe.
okay.
He was a fashionista in uni.
like Amiri kind of vibes? Amiris, McQueen's.
It wasn't
like,
Amiri,
was
though.
it what tee would you like a Celine tee or something?
You know, I had a Kenzo tee with the eye.
Kenzo tee, Amiri, skinny jeans.
Two Kenzo jumpers.
Yeah.
I had a D-squared hat as well.
That's the thing.
We went through the phases.
Go through the face.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. Like, I feel like as you say, like I'll probably never wear skinny jeans again. Doesn't matter what's going on in the world. I
Yeah.
feel like I found what I like, and whatever else they've got going on over there. If they say yo, everyone's wearing skinny jeans, we're like, all right.
Fairs, like.
But I do think that, like, personally, whilst I'm not going to wear skinny jeans again, I think as I've become more confident within myself, I think I have started incorporating more, like, not slim fitting items, but not
slimmer.
as baggy.
Yeah.
So I think especially like 5 years ago, I just felt like insecure, was very, very overweight. And this is like pre-marathon. So I'd say like this is like the first year of the store or whatever. This is like 2023. It's like it was quite difficult. I found like every single day just by being surrounded by like fashion people, but then also not feeling comfortable within yourself. But then I think that's why I'm a big believer in just like having real conversations with customers, because I always think like, what would I have wanted had I come into a store like this? But I do think that as I've kind of got a bit more confident within myself, I am incorporating more like just different silhouettes, not reverting to like skinny skin tight clothing, but just not as baggy.
Baggy.
Just because I think the bagginess was obviously like it was a bit of a shield as well. But at the same time, like you've seen the fucking size of these joggers.
Hey, they yeah.
What joggers are these?
This is a Vietnamese brand called Lu Dan. Hard.
Clean still.
Yeah, they're like
How do you go about finding new brands?
Essence, the website.
Shares.
To be honest with you,
Just
that's
clicking through every single
yeah,
one.
yeah, literally just going through.
Yeah.
That has always been a big thing.
Because I feel like
Instagram-
a lot of people struggle with trying to create their streetwear look or a lot of people ask me, oh yeah, how do you know what to buy or how do you know what to wear?
I don't think you ever do.
Yeah.
You're
I don't think
trying
you, I just think you. I think people's wardrobes are at their best when you can almost match any piece within your wardrobe with another. I don't think this goes back to the cosplaying thing. I don't understand when people are like when someone come in here and be like, oh, this jumper would look great with this one specific pair of jeans that I've got and these specific pair of shoes. Like it's all like a matchy outfit. I'm like, that's fucking stupid.
When people ask me when people ask me about buying trainers, I always say, or like even buying like an item.
Yeah.
If you can't create 3 separate fits with it,
Yeah, that's a great way to.
you can't really buy it.
Yeah.
Because like you're gonna buy it for the specific jumper that you're saying,
Yeah.
and a specific pair of shoes, and you step out in your super specific fit, and it's like
Yeah.
it's not even that great.
Just look like a neek. Literally just look like a neek.
Sometimes for me, people will ask me, oh yeah, how do you know what shoes to buy or how do you know what clothing to buy? If it's a hoodie, I would tell them, okay, cool, just buy in a different color. Like normally, when it's a completely I think me and you were talking about the Stussy long sleeve.
Yes. So they
The Raglan ones.
Yeah,
The thermals.
the thermal ones.
Yeah.
He's got the black one.
Crazy.
I wanted
got-
the purplish, pinkish one.
Yeah.
And I think there's a cream.
Yeah, there's a cream
There's
one,
quite
yeah.
a few.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's more of a thing of like, if you wanted to buy something like that, don't go and buy it in the generic white or black color.
You probably
go and
want
buy
that
it in a
colour in-
purple. Like,
Yeah, like play
Yeah.
the game a little
With
bit, man.
colours.
Have some
Yeah,
fun.
yeah,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
normally the things which are really colorful or are normally cheapest because
Yeah.
people don't
Yeah,
necessarily
100%.
want it.
I
But-
also.
No,
go on.
No, go on, you're good.
No, you go. Rock, paper,
I was
scissors. Rock, paper, scissors.
Damn.
Again.
Let's go
Again.
Right, rock, paper, scissors.
Okay, you go.
I forgot what I was going to fucking say.
Look at us.
No, you have to.
right.
You have to remember that.
No, what I was going to say is, I think when you have that perfect wardrobe where almost anything can match with everything else, then I think that's when you have like a true sense of like your personal style,
For sure,
and when
for
you
sure.
really can come into your own. And I think that idea of like you can essentially you're just adding pieces over time, and there's never. I feel like I mean the guys in the store like who work here. I'm like I get loads of shit because like I always say to them is like I hate matching outfits.
Okay.
I'm like I don't get it. I'm like, why do you like all the
When you say
colors?
matching, do you mean like sandwich method or like?
Like sandwich method, like
Like full
everything
kit.
is like yellow, everything
Yeah.
is like one color or whatever. I'm like, if you genuinely understand the items of clothing that you have in store in your wardrobe, and the colors will all they will assimilate towards each other eventually, because you will only like unless you have every single item ever created in your wardrobe, then
Yeah.
you can have free reign. But I feel like colors. I'm a big fan of clashing colors and like shoes especially that like don't go with the outfit. Like theoretically, like the loafers and tracky look, or like the boots and like, do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
Smart casual type.
yeah, well, it's like the kind of just like the contradiction of one piece of the outfit with the rest of it.
Makes
I
it
think
more
that
interesting
is,
to look at.
yeah, I think it always adds something unique to your fit.
Full tracksuit and flip flops.
Yeah,
Well, like,
literally.
even like when you go like that's crazy by the way.
Oh,
Like, even when you
but
go
But
like,
if you, yeah, as in like that, you could rock it.
or like even like super simple top and bottom, and then just like crazy loud like trainers
Yeah,
or
yeah,
shoes,
exactly. I think if you genuinely dress well, anything can match with anything, and it's also just about confidence.
Like, yeah.
Genuinely, I think that's the biggest.
Oh yeah, I've seen Fashion Week. Fashion Week is definitely about confidence.
Hey.
Yeah, I feel like Fashion Week is like
It's performative, but it's about
it
confidence.
is. It's about confidence.
Some of the stuff I've seen people wear, I'm like, yo,
Swag is half confidence. It's really about how you step out.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's
Right.
how the clothes. Like, if you don't feel that, and again, that's why we tell people to try stuff on. Because it's like if you don't feel confident in it, you're not gonna look good in it.
You're not even comfortable in your own ends.
So if you haven't taken anything away from this conversation, guys, try something on.
Wear your clothes.
Just try it on.
Just try it on. Just wear it.
Sorry. I had a question I was gonna ask. Sorry, that was really mad. I've noticed that with TikTok, there's a rise, and I don't know if you want to class this as good or bad in window shopping culture.
What? Just like walking around stores and just having a look and not buying it.
Yeah, and making content saying that you went somewhere.
Oh, that.
How do you feel about window shopping culture in general?
What are you talking about? Like content creators going into stores and acting like they're buying stuff?
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the fact that people just it's become a trend of people just literally just going into stores and just trying things on with no specific reason.
Well, that's fine.
I don't see anything wrong with that.
Okay.
Like I
I
feel
like, I mean, like obviously sometimes when a customer comes in, they spend like 45 minutes in the change room and they don't buy anything. It's like, come on.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like that's their choice. You can't force someone to buy something.
for sure.
That's another thing that
It's
I always
also
tell.
just like working in retail, bro. Like especially now, yeah. Obviously, I don't work in retail anymore, but like
We all used to work in retail.
exactly that's what
Literally, we all used to work in retail.
But like, when you think of like, especially now with like the financial crisis and what's going on and how important,
living,
like there's
FTSE
things.
500.
I think if someone,
This guy's
the
so
bond
annoying.
market, the stocks, honestly.
Swiss banking.
But I feel like
Eat out to
if you
help
want to
out.
go and try something on just to feel something, you should be able to do that without feeling judged.
100%,
You know?
100%.
Go try something on to make yourself feel fly, just for like a couple
Yeah.
minutes.
And I
just
think-
so like,
And run out the store.
whoa.
Oh, we've had that.
Have you?
Fucking hell. Oh, mate, there are some. I don't know if those stories. I don't know if I'll say on camera because
Fair.
like some of them are
fine.
actually quite big.
Oh
Yeah,
no.
it's fine.
But no, I completely agree.
Yeah.
I think especially when it's obvious that like a kid has come in, like they probably don't have a big budget or whatever, and they're looking at like a fucking like the Corteiz leather jacket, and it's like £400 or whatever, and they know that it's because they know the brand, they know that it's expensive.
You can tell
They're
all the
looking
time.
at it. I'm like, bro, just try it on. They're like, I can't afford it. I'm like, I don't
try it
care.
on.
Just literally just wear it,
Yeah.
walk around in it, take a photo of yourself wearing it, and you can leave. I know you're not gonna buy it. It genuinely doesn't matter.
But at the same time, it's that experience that you're talking about.
Well, exactly. Exactly. I'm like, it doesn't matter if you can't afford it. If you want it, like, we're here because we want everyone to try stuff on. And if you feel good in it, maybe in a year's time, that kid saves up some money. He's like, I'm still thinking about that jacket. I want that jacket, and then he buys it. And then because he's had that experience, and he doesn't even necessarily need to buy it from us. Like, I'm wary of the fact that like there's other stores out there, there's other marketplaces, there's other online channels that people can buy stuff on. But like, I like to think that like, even if he did buy it somewhere else, he'll remember the fact that they tried it on in here. Maybe that's me being a bit like fucking, I don't know.
Everybody can eat, but that's the
I mean,
thing.
hey, bro, that's the type of person you are, and I think that speaks to who you are as a person and the way you run the store. And like, yeah, man, yeah, shout out to you, bro.
Yeah.
On that note, guys, we've made a bit of an error. You know, we didn't bring our Stockroom Force 1.
Okay, I apologize.
However, guys, you have a fix. So as we're speaking right now, Qasim will be signing the Stockroom Force 1.
In the future.
Yeah, and we'll just overlay it on the video. Because what the heck?
There are no rules.
guys, you know, we're honest with you, and you're honest with us to have great conversations. So, you know, with that being said, guys, as Qasim signs the Stockroom Force 1, thank you for watching today's episode. We appreciate you tapping in. We hope you've taken away 1, 2, 3 things, you know. And
Come and visit the store, man.
yeah,
come.
come to the store, man.
I'll
It's
be
a
here.
Soho, open from
Every day,
12,
12-ish,
roughly.
12 till 7.
Nice.
And then 11 to 7 on Sunday. The opening hours are on the door.
Yeah, cool. Pull up.
You can't remember off the top of his head.
No.
Yeah.
12 to 7 Monday to Friday, 11 to 7 Saturday, 12 to 6 Sunday.
Hard. And yeah, and if you can't get down to the store has
We do have a website.
a website, and you have the eBay Live as well, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
eBay's.
Do you want to talk about that quickly?
on.
In terms of like now, due to how shopping habits have changed. Sorry, I know that to be rounding up. How shopping habits have changed. You have whatnot. You have eBay. How have those influenced or helped
This is behind the Patreon, guys.
your buying
Yeah.
process?
I'm joking.
The buying process. Like,
Oh, sorry,
acquiring
the selling process.
I understand why live selling got to the point that it did. I am unsure on its longevity within the market because I feel like it's a race to the bottom like, in terms of price point.
True.
So, and it's a numbers game. It's a high volume, low value game, which I feel like there's only one way that goes. It's stickies downwards over time. So I'm unsure on its like long-term like longevity within the market. I think it's a cool concept. It's something that we've kind of dabbled with a little bit. I don't know if I was the right person to conduct the live streams. I feel like this is, I mean, as much as I like talking, I don't know if I've got that like...
The streaming ability.
Yeah, I feel like the streaming ability is something different, but it's also just like...
Let's go.
Yeah, I'm not like a particularly like energetic person like that.
Yeah.
Especially
where they're doing it for hours.
Yeah, I just don't think I've got that in me.
Fair.
But at the same time, I do think there's a reason why it became popular. There's a reason why it won't become popular. And I think we're kind of in between those two periods at the moment. I feel like it's the hype behind it has kind of died down a little bit.
And it comes back to the whole brick and mortar situation of having a
Yeah,
physical
exactly.
space, right?
I feel like a year and a half ago, like all these like streaming platforms or whatever, they were reaching out to us especially. Maybe it's because we said no to a lot of them. But obviously we did a few eBay lives, which I think went okay.
I think you did what? Did you do what not?
We maybe someone did a whatnot.
Yeah.
Maybe someone did a
what
whatnot.
I was-
Maybe, I don't think it was me.
Yeah, I'm sure it wasn't you.
I just like I'm unsure on its future. I wouldn't want to say something definitive on something that I'm not that well educated on.
Fair.
Maybe the numbers are still growing. I don't know. Is it something that we could start doing again? Yeah, potentially. I feel like the platforms or the businesses that thrive in that space for the next 2-3 years are the ones that essentially go into that more like, it's more of a live stream rather than a live selling. So it's more just like people are just tuning in because they've got an interesting person, guest or whatever on there. So I think that's the direction.
I think there's even been a problem with it. I don't know if you heard about the whole Cool Kicks thing.
I haven't, no.
Cool Kicks is a retail store in the US, and I think there was allegedly, please, I don't want to get the story wrong, but allegedly in the US, I think it's in Memphis, basically where Nike has like their depot. So a lot of trains were getting ransacked. So a lot of trains with Nike stock were getting ransacked.
What?
And this company called Cool Kicks bought product not knowing it was from ransacked.
Yeah.
Because it was just coming on pallets, and then they just bought it,
yeah.
and then they were doing it through whatnot. Obviously, there's no real paper trace because you're selling it like that, but you're making small margins. But the small margins that you're making, you're probably getting the product for on a wholesale basis. You're probably getting the product on next to nothing, and you're selling it. So the small margins that you're making are still margins because of how low you got the product in the first place.
Yeah.
So it could drive people into that territory, and obviously that territory is not advisory. And where there's no paper trail, you're probably selling a Stussy hoodie for £100. That's worth 300, and you've got it for 20. Like that type of. Obviously, that's bad numbers.
Yeah. I know what you mean.
But yeah,
It's just a.
As you said, it's a race to the bottom.
It's a race to the bottom, which is something that we've always tried to avoid because it's just like it's tiring as well when you're just constantly like. I also feel like the big value with the store has always been that like I've always liked to look, the way that I've described it and the way I've explained it to people is you want to look after both sides of the coin. In the sense of you want to give sellers the best value for their money, but then also you don't want to give them such a high price that it means that you eventually, that cost is then passed on to the consumer. So it's like, I mean, obviously like in economics it's called like externalities and all that kind of stuff. And it's
positive and negative.
yeah, exactly. That's where like my economic kind of like background education has come into it
LSE?
a little bit. Where it's just like there's a sweet spot essentially with every single Soho. It's one of those fucking tuk-tuks.
Yeah.
There's always a sweet spot with every single product, and I feel like trying to look after both sides, where your sellers are still happy, but then also your customers aren't being priced out.
Yeah.
And they want to come back.
Yeah. which is
Yeah.
again why we're not a reseller.
This is another reason why we get along, because I also studied politics and economics.
Did you?
So yeah.
Where?
Aston.
Nice.
Yeah, not LSE. I
Oh,
wasn't smart.
Qasim,
So. But yeah. So I completely get where you're coming from. It makes a lot of sense.
and I think that again with our future plans, that's why I want more stores, because I just think that I think just being able to spread that message as quickly as possible and as fast as possible, the best way to do that is through more stores. And the exciting thing, which I am allowed to tell you,
Go on.
which I got this clear this morning. Basically, so the
Nice.
parent company that acquired us, responsible, they also acquired Klekt, which I don't know if you guys remember.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's the Europe's oldest streetwear marketplace.
Really?
So they've gone, it's Europe's old. It's very big on the continent, not so big in the UK. And my vision for how Klekt and Trading Desk interact is to try and replicate the Flight and Goat Club model, not
Okay.
Flight Club and Goat model of you have Goat as the
online
marketplace, and Flight Club is the stores where you'd have Trading Desk
That's the
as the
store.
stores and Klekt as the marketplace. And you have access to the Klekt product, but then you also can come into Trading Desk and shop in person, etc. That is the vision. That's where hopefully we're heading towards. And yeah, that's what I'm kind of excited about. And that again, even being able to have that conversation, it validates essentially what was the difficult decision to obviously sell the business over a year ago. Just to be able to be in that conversation of having that potential of you have the Klekt marketplace, you have their user base, but you also are able to still tap into what makes Trading Desk and what the customers want from us, and be able to expand that.
Did you and Alex sell completely?
Yeah, so we don't own anything.
Oh.
Which I know, I guess over the past year, some people have been like, "What? How could you do that?" I'm like, you know what? I felt that my ability to provide value to the business increased without having a specific stake in it anymore or shares in it anymore. Just because it felt you're able to make I think my decision-making process has improved over the past year. Because it's less of an emotional attachment to
More
it.
of a business-related one.
Yeah.
Final question before
Go
we
for
round
it.
up again. Let's say I'm a young man or woman,
Yeah.
and I'm like, right, okay, I want to open a store in Soho.
Or
Yeah.
not Soho.
Or not
Somewhere.
Soho.
Oh, anyway, yeah.
Yeah. What would you say are good steps or good practices in trying to open a store, or in opening a store, I should say?
I think be comfortable being able to talk to anyone. I think if you don't have the ability to interact with your customers, you don't have the confidence or / skill set to be able to essentially talk to anyone and everyone, then I think unless your product line is just impeccable,
Yeah.
which as we know,
But you have
is-
to talk to customers to get
is
there.
is subjective.
Yeah, for sure.
I think if you I think being able to have that ability to talk to people. If you don't have that, don't open the store. To be honest with you, I think that's I think that's also where you kind of. I've definitely changed a lot over the past 3 years as a person. I think before the store, I was probably a bit more on my high horse a little bit as a fucking, I don't know, fairly
London,
Manny,
from LS, that went LSE.
yeah, just had a problem, a bit of a bit.
Posh accent,
Posh accent's crazy. Posh accent's crazy.
Private school?
Yeah.
private school.
Yeah.
Private school, yeah.
But you
Was definitely
integrated.
definitely recognized that very quickly. I was like, oh, I have just been living in these bubbles all my life.
Yeah.
And yeah, not to say that I'm not privileged or anything like that. But at the same time, if there's advice to someone else who's opening up a store, just make sure that you're comfortable within yourself before you do it. Otherwise, it's a relentless
Hands-on.
business, and also be prepared for anything and everything to go wrong.
Fair.
at any point.
Fair.
At genuinely any point. Yeah, I think that I was talking to a friend about this the other day. The way that I've dealt with that over the years, that like even at the highest of highs, mentally, I'm always in the back of my mind being like, okay, this will pass. Like this will pass, something else will come along and it's not going to be as good, but then also that will pass. That will also like, time is your best friend, I've always found. That like, where we were 3 years ago is very different to where we are now. The best months of the store, they don't exist anymore. The worst months of the store, they don't exist. And I think because of like,
present.
yeah, every single day, and any staff that have ever worked there, I'm always like, the first thing I tell them is that like, at the end of every single day, no matter how good it's been, it doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah, there's that phrase, at the end of the day ends, right?
Well, there you go. Like, it doesn't matter. It's on to the next day, and you've got to. And I guess for some people that can be quite like a stressful environment to be in,
sure.
because it's just constant. It is unrelenting. It's just like there's no kind of like stopping it. I quite enjoy it. I don't know if what that says about my like internal psychology. I'm sure someone will psychoanalyze it, but I've always quite enjoyed the thrill of the stress. I've always found stress to be a blessing. I think it's good to be stressed. I don't think you can.
Something going on.
Yeah, something worthwhile going on.
Yeah, for
Something
sure.
you care about. It means that you have a care and interest that extends beyond your like immediate kind of circles or whatever. Most of the time.
And on that note,
See you.
guys, appreciate
Thank you for having me.
Hey, come on, bro.
Anytime.
Appreciate you coming on and providing us with insight, man. Like,
Brother.
yeah, man, they're very much needed.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's been fun.
Yeah, man. I'm glad you enjoyed it, and I hope like the people at home also enjoyed hearing your story through that, because I feel like we're hearing the mental side of things, but also the physical and real, tangible and financial side of things as well, and it provides a whole picture as to why you're here today, what you're going to be planning to do tomorrow, and also how you're able to sit with some of the stores in the area that have such a legacy, and the way you see the brand that is Trading Desk, how it also plans to grow into legacy of its own. So yeah, bro, thank you for sharing your story with us.
Yeah.
And people, thank you for watching. And yeah, until next time, we're out here.
Also, I think if Corteiz are opening a store, they have to go to Supreme. If Supreme are moving, they have to go there.
Oh, you think?
I think if they're going to do it, I think there's one brand that can do it, it's them.
Fair.
I think it's a full circle moment. I think it's kind of like everything that he's stood for as a like anti-reselling. He obviously was a reseller, then is anti-reselling with Corteiz, and then like how essentially like Corteiz is like cannibalized Supreme's market, especially in like 2021 to 2023. And even like the collab and everything like that. If Supreme are moving, which is the Soho rumour mill, that's what the word on the street is.
The Soho Fabrizio Romanos of the world are telling us that moves are in. The Soho moves are in play.
I think if there's
But
one.
do you feel like that?
Do you think what they want to have their own space and cement their own like
Well,
legacy?
that's one question. But then do you also not think they would want a bigger space?
Supreme is quite big.
It's a fairly big space.
Relatively, right? But I feel like it's like, because of the way it's 2 floors.
Yeah,
it's like
I get
bit,
that. I'm more talking from like a
legacy
legacy
change of hands situation.
Yeah. I think it
I feel
would.
you.
I think also for like British streetwear, it would feel like. I think obviously
Right.
we've been dominated by American brands. Obviously you have Palace, but like I feel like Palace are having a good year.
Yeah.
A good year or so.
Yeah, especially the whole Nike thing.
Yeah, I feel like
And,
I do think they
some
can.
are they're gonna.
Yeah, I mean, I reckon there'll be at least like 30 World Cup activations. At Palace around. At least
Hey.
Especially in
it's
Man
going to
as
be
well.
every
Live watches,
single day.
games on in the intervals of the live watches. Hey, it's going to be crazy.
That's going to be a big thing, I think, this year.
Yeah,
is
for
the and
They're gonna sell a lot in that store in that pad.
I was talking to Tommy about it the other day.
Yeah.
And I just think that like
Friend of the show.
friend of the store.
Friend of the store.
Hey.
I think this summer is going to be really interesting to see how the influencer content creation market interacts with the World Cup. So I think obviously you had the Euros in 2024. It felt like the content creators were still kind of like some of them like it's not as big as it is now.
The creator economy, yeah.
Yeah, the creator economy. And I think obviously the last time it was the World Cup was in 2022, it was in winter, etc. I think this summer is going to be a bit of like it's going to be a moment where I think it's either going to go one way or the other, and my gut is telling me that this is going to be like essentially the end of the road for the oversaturated brand pop-up activation market. Because I don't think customers are paying attention as much to influencers as they were 3 years ago. I think the influencer market, as we've said this to you before, like it's a zero-sum game. The more influencers there are, the less influence each one of them will have.
And then that's why they go and reverse it, and they'll go to like the micro influencer and try to tell a story to the smaller community.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
And I think brands are starting to recognize that. And I think eventually over time it will revert back to the norm. And I also think that our generation as well are becoming more social media resistant. I think there's more and more, like you speak to people of our age who are like actually trying to, I've deleted Instagram off my phone, I've deleted TikTok, I'm trying not to, because it's just warped our perception of what reality is. And I hope that like over the next few years, like as people in our age demographic are also starting to get into more powerful positions within certain industries, they're also able to like act on that, influence change. And I think social media has its benefits and everything like that, but like I'm also a big believer that I don't think the world is overall. I don't think the world's a better place because of it. I personally don't think so. In terms of like I feel like there was a sweet spot maybe in like 2013 to 15, that kind of like way that we interact with it, and I think like the TikTok realification of social media is just now.
It's changed things quite a lot.
I think you can probably pin it to like Vine, like the inception of Vine is the turning point of social media. But like
because that videoification of content and that short but like snappy 1 minute video
10 seconds
that then or 10 seconds that becomes that mad viral.
Well, Vine was 6 seconds at the start.
It was, wasn't it? Yeah.
From 6 and then I think it went to
like
10.
Who thought of that? Who thought of that making a funny moment in 6 seconds?
So I think at its core that was a great concept because like it was essentially just skits. It was just comedy, and it was difficult to like sell product on it because like it's such a short. Like I feel like I don't remember there being many brand deals on Vine. But now with obviously like Instagram, Reels, TikTok, because you can have longer form content, different styles
behind it. And
the
game's dark, man.
But I don't even remember what Corteiz Supreme Store. They should definitely do it.
Oh, don't worry, this is going right at the start of the video. This is the clickbait for the video. I've already seen it now. Everything plays out of my head.
Let's do it.
But yeah, bro, appreciate you, man.
Thank you.
My guy, man.
I'm sorry for rambling on.
Don't apologize, bro. This is real life.
This is real life.
This is real
uncut,
life.
isn't it?